Before returning to work after the Klavanless weekend, I always take the time to research the news in order to find out what's been going on while I was receiving my regenerative youth transfusions and disposing of the bodies of the virgins. Here's a summary of what I learned from my deep study of mainstream media news sources. The mainstream media report that there's been flooding in Louisiana. And unlike President George W. Bush, who did not rush to Louisiana during Hurricane Katrina because he didn't care about black people, President Obama did not rush to Louisiana because he didn't want to cause traffic jams and distract from rescue efforts. Donald Trump rushed to Louisiana because he's a heartless grandstander who'll use even a fatal disaster to get himself on television, whereupon Obama decided to rush to Louisiana because he's a sensitive leader who cares so very deeply about the American people, now that his summer vacation is over. Hillary Clinton didn't rush to Louisiana because she just wasn't feeling up to it. Not that she's sick or anything. She's totally not, totally. She just needs a little rest. Totally well. As if Trump's actions handing out relief materials to flood victims weren't disgusting enough, the billionaire went on to make racist remarks, pointing out that black Americans under Democratic leadership have poor schools, low employment, and dangerous neighborhoods. This was an outrageously cruel statement to make about a disadvantaged segment of our society already suffering from poor schools, low employment, and dangerous neighborhoods. Trump continues to use hateful, racist, violent rhetoric to incite his crappy cracker followers who deserve to be killed. In other mainstream media news, it at first seemed the Obama administration did not give $400 million to the terrorist state of Iran as ransom because that would only encourage Iran to kidnap more Americans. But then, luckily, it turned out the money was ransom because the administration had courageously set Americans free in a canny negotiated settlement. Trump's former campaign manager was revealed to have taken money from the Ukraine because of his dark, sinister ties to Russian leader Vladimir Putin, whereas Hillary Clinton was revealed to have taken money from the Ukraine because of the charitable work done by the Clinton Foundation. Finally, the mainstream media revealed that there was absolutely no hack of documents from the not at all sinister billionaire George Soros, who was therefore not revealed to have funneled money to the non-hateful, non-violent Black Lives Matter groups. The absolutely, totally unmalevolent Soros was also not shown in the not hacked emails not to have pressured the Obama administration into taking even more completely non-threatening Syrian refugees. Obviously, if anything else had happened, it would have been reported, which it wasn't, anywhere, which is totally non-sinister, like Soros. I hope this little summary gives you some sense of the deep research that goes into our show as we gather all the weekend reporting of the mainstream media together in one place. Also, it's cheaper than buying real toilet paper. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show. I love this flooding thing where Obama is playing golf while the people in Louisiana drown. And it's so good of him. It's so generous of him, And then, Trump goes there and he hands out Play-Doh to the children. They've lost everything. And he gives them a little toy. It's like, what do they need Play-Doh for? What's the matter? This guy's terrible. Anyway, we're back. It's the Klavanless weekend is over. It's time to sweep up, bury the bodies, rebuild the cities and all this. And we're on with you here on Facebook and YouTube for 15 minutes. And then we'll wink out and suddenly you'll be plunged back into darkness. But you can come to the Daily Wire, download us on iTunes or SoundCloud. And if you subscribe on Wednesday, we can include your questions in the mailbag. I keep getting these questions on Twitter and email, and they keep saying, couldn't you ask this on your show? No. Part with your lousy $8. Come on. I mean, let's go. It's 30 days free, and then we come and take $8 and probably some of your knickknacks, and, we just break into your house. All right, and also, please, if you will pre-order my memoir, The Great Good Thing, A Secular Jew Comes to Faith in Christ, send me the receipt at aklavan@dailywire.com, and I will send you a sticker with an autograph you can put in the book. This, The Great Good Thing, A Secular Jew Comes to Faith in Christ. You will genuinely enjoy it. I'm getting such great reactions, early reactions, and publication reviews. I think you'll really like it. All right, the Trump pivot. This is the big news. Yeah. Trump has changed. He's no longer Trump. He's an entirely different candidate. This is wonderful. He made a speech just as he waited till he knew we were going off the air because he knew I would mock him, So he just waited. And at the last minute, he made this speech and he said, remember, he's now got his new team, Steve Bannon and Kelly and Conway are now running his campaign. And he's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he makes this speech saying maybe he hasn't always said the exact right thing.
As you know, I'm not a politician. It's good. I've worked in business, created a great company, created lots of jobs, rebuilding neighborhoods. That's what I've done all of my adult life. I've never wanted to learn the language of the insiders, and I've never been politically correct. It takes far too much time. Sure. True. Truthfully, it takes far too much time and can often make it more difficult to achieve total victory. Sometimes, in the heat of debate and speaking on a multitude of issues, you don't choose the right words or you say the wrong thing. I have done that. And believe it or not, I regret it. Thank you. And I do regret it, particularly where it may have caused personal pain. Too much is at stake for us to be consumed with these issues. But one thing I can promise you this, I will always tell you the truth.
So okay, kind of a non-apology apology. It's only because he's so honest. He's not a politician. He's been spending his time rebuilding America and didn't really learn. So I'm a little confused. Does this mean Ted Cruz's father didn't kill JFK? I just want to know because I thought we had solved that problem. Anyway, it's a non-apology apology, but it's a different tone. I think we have to be fair and say that it is a different tone. It is not the usual Donald Trump belligerence. It's not I won't apologize for anything. And I have to be honest, I have a little sympathy for the people who don't like to see politicians apologize because the left has been using – what the left does is it twists our good manners against us. That's what it does. It says, you've offended me. Nobody wants to offend anybody. I don't want to offend anybody. But it says like, oh, you waved an American flag. That's offensive to me. You offended me. So everything you do that expresses your right-wing conservative opinions, your pro-American opinions, your constitutional opinions becomes an insult to them, in some kind of racist comment, and everybody has to apologize for everything, and we're all walking on tiptoes, and all it really is shut up. All it means is shut up, don't say anything that disagrees with the left-wing agenda of the government taking over every aspect of your life and telling you exactly how you should behave at every minute, how you should run your business, all this stuff. Don't say anything about that or you're a racist, terrible person, so apologize. And so when we see Trump not apologize, we like it. On the other hand, he has done a lot of stuff where, a normal, decent person would apologize. And all these things get confused together because it's really the left started it. The left did this whole thing. I mean, there was this movie Sausage Party has come out, and some gay site did a review of it saying something nice about the depiction. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I'm not sure what we're talking about, but it's the depiction voiced by Selma Hayek of a lesbian taco shell, I believe it is, a lesbian taco. And they were attacked because, no, she's not a lesbian, she's a bisexual taco shell. And so this website put out a 2,600-word apology, a 2,600-word apology. Now, let me do just some quick math. That is 8 typed pages, 8 or 9 typed pages of apology that they put out. So I think we're all a little tired of apology. So he makes this apology where he's kind of winking at the audience, but it is a different tone. And there has been what some people are perceiving as a little bit of pullback on his anti-immigration stuff. So for instance, He once said he was going to have an immigration force. He was going to establish an immigration force to come to your house and arrest the approximately, nobody really knows how many there are, but approximately 11 million illegal aliens and deport them. And you can just imagine what that's going to look like on television to have these people being, mother, please don't take my mother, where even all those Trump guys who are shouting, build a wall, are going to be going like, what? That's what it looks like when you drag a child away from its mother. That doesn't look as good as it did in my imagination. When I was raging in the room by myself, that looked like a lot of fun, but suddenly it's not. So now he's kind of pulling back. Here's Kellyanne Conway, his new communicator, who is just fudging on the edges of this a little bit.
So does Donald Trump still support that? A deportation force removing the 11 million or so undocumented immigrants?
What he supports, and if you go back to his convention speech a month ago, Dana, what he supports is to make sure that we enforce the law, that we are respectful of those Americans who are looking for well-paying jobs, and that we are fair and humane for those who live among us in this country. And as the weeks unfold, he will lay out the specifics of that plan that he would implement as President of the United States.
Will that plan include a deportation force, the kind that you just heard in that soundbite and that he talked about during the Republican primaries?
To be determined.
TBD, it's like 2 months till the guy would, theoretically becomes president. Not 2 months, 2 months before the election. We don't know. It's a kind of a major point, but that's okay. So he's just softening his tone a little bit. Now, here are two takes on this. Okay, one is Krauthammer's. He gives you the political take, which is cynical and hard to believe. How is it that this guy's going to change the personality of a lifetime and become it really would have to be a different Donald Trump entirely. So here's Krauthammer expressing just a little bit of cynicism.
You get 2 strikes, 3 strikes, and you're out. You get a third firing, and it'll be called disarray, chaos, confusion. But I think at this point, people understand that with the stories coming out about Manafort, it was impossible to keep him on. So that's sort of explicable. The other part is, we saw from the speech that Trump made late today in Michigan, the process of softening the man is underway. I mean, this is a very heavy soak, a wash, a dry, a spin, and they're doing it, I think, rather effectively, talking about the concern of minorities, supposedly confessing that he occasionally says the wrong things. Let's see if he can do that without reading off a teleprompter. And I'm sure he'll be asked, what do you regret? Can you give an example? Mm-hmm. It'll be extremely interesting to see if he gives an example and which example it might be.
So Krauthammer makes a good point there, because remember, it's not just this apology thing. I regret occasionally backing over my friends' children's or whatever he's saying. It's not just that. Trump has had a good 4 or 5 days. He made an excellent foreign policy speech. Bolton was in the Wall Street Journal saying this was a good foreign policy speech. Excellent speech on law and order. His thing about blacks, the speeches he's making about blacks driving the left crazy. Just play a little bit of the second Trump cut.
The inner cities of our country have been run by the Democratic Party for more than 50 years. Their policies have produced only poverty, joblessness, failing schools, and broken homes. It's time to hold Democratic politicians accountable for what they have done to these communities. At what point do we say enough? At what point do we say enough? It's time to hold failed leaders accountable for their results, not just their empty words over and over again.
So, that drove the Hillary camp nuts, because he's saying that, black people's lives suck under Democrats, which is absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And they're saying, how could you say such terrible things? But there's another take on Trump that really fascinates me. And unfortunately, if you're on Facebook, you got to come on over, or YouTube, come on over to the Daily Wire and hear the rest. It's really an interesting, different take on what Trump is doing.